Hey, 2000 SPQR. And we're going to continue with Victory in the Pacific with ports and bases. Today I want to go with New Guinea. New Guinea right here. Treat New Guinea as two islands. Two separate areas. Not just one big island or peninsula, whatever you want to call it. This ridge in the center, which divides the island in two, makes the island two separate areas. Which means pretty much two separate bases. Japanese can have one side of the island and the US can have another. It's perfectly legit. This is Lae, and this is Port Moresby. Lae, right here, touches two sea areas. The South Pacific and Indonesia. Sea zones. We'll just bring that out a little bit. There we go. South Pacific and Indonesia are the two sea zones that Lae touches. Whoever controls these two sea zones together controls Lae. If one side owns Indonesia and the other side owns the South Pacific, then no one really controls Lae. However, there can be a marker here stating who originally owned it before the division happened. So, whoever last owned, right here it's the Americans, so be it. The Americans still own that piece of real estate, but nobody can control it unless these two sea zones are in control. Port Moresby, right here, the southern side. They touch the Indian Ocean, right here, and the Coral Sea. Whoever controls both the Indian Ocean and the Coral Sea controls Port Moresby. If there is a division where one side controls, say, Coral Sea and the other side controls the Indian Ocean, then nobody controls the oceans. Nobody really controls Port Moresby. However, the last owners of that piece of real estate, they do have the credit of keeping their marker there until these are taken, and then that's taken. As I said before, the two bases don't even touch each other, even though they're on the same island. They're separated by what's called the Owen Stanley Ridge. And we'll get a little close-up on that. This is the Owen Stanley Ridge. separates Port Moresby from Lae. Land units cannot move directly between Lae and Port Moresby. Let me get a land unit here. We've got the Marines here, so let's do it this way. I need more Marines. Grab these. Okay, the first step is like this. The Indian Ocean is captured or in control. The Coral Sea is in control. The same flag has controlled the Coral Sea and the Indian Ocean. So we got that done. And of course we would have Japanese warships. The Australians will better be considering getting out and leaving this port, because at the end of the turn it's going to turn into a Japanese port, because the Japanese now owns the Coral Sea and the Indian Ocean, which is key to capturing a port. Anyway, let's get back to Port Moresby. So, zoom in. So the Owen Stanley Ridge divides the island. Land units cannot cross over it. So you got your Marine. He cannot cross from Port Moresby to Lae like that. Can't do it. Nor can he go from Lae to Port Moresby because of the Owen Stanley Ridge. The only way to get through it is to go around it. And to go around it is just simply like this. And we'll back it up a little bit. Just like that. Go around it. So the Marines come in, that goes away, that flips over, it's now Japanese control. Another Marine comes in, and he can land there and stays. The Japanese can now take the port. The Australians have got to leave. They can go to the U.S. mandate in Samoa, just like that. And of course, this port now becomes the Japanese port. That's how you take a port. Problem. As you know, Yokosuka gets 6 repair points to repair their damaged warships. Unfortunately, just because they took the port in Australia, they cannot share in that repair bonus. It would be nice if you could use those repair points for whatever port you take, but it's not allowed in the rules, because repair damage is very key to the Japanese, more so than it is to the Americans. The only way to repair any Japanese Marines, aircraft, or ships is if they go to the Yokosuka Navy Yard. That is the only way to repair your units. There are no repair ports or points for a truck or anywhere else. Let's talk about the Philippines. It's almost like this situation here. The Philippines, although comprised of several islands, is one gigantic base. So you got like Andaman Island. You got this one little base marker here. That's the way you treat the Philippines. Just like that. Now, ships cannot treat a base like a port. You can't rest them like that. It doesn't work that way. But ships can stay in the sea zone that touches it. The Marines are kind of treated like the same as the ship counters. They can stay at sea, just like that. Or, unlike ships, they can go to a base like that. Aircraft, land-based aircraft that is, can stay at sea like the Marines, or they can go to a port or a base. In the sea zones of Indonesia and the Marianas, those are the sea zones that touch the Philippines. In order to take the Philippines, the Marianas and Indonesia must be under your control. If they are not taken, then whoever originally owned the Philippines is in control. And that concludes the do's and don'ts of ports and bases. Next video will be the Pearl Harbor attack. Keep gaming.